All right. Look at that background. We are here. It is the 4th of July for those in the US. Happy holidays to those celebrating. A few analysts have decided to take a break from the festivities to join me for another mock draft. This is Stuff It, a fantasy basketball podcast. I'm Adam King. Go and follow me on socials at AdamKing91. Follow us as a brand at Old Man Squad. Second mock draft. We're a week removed from doing the first mock draft of the season. We've had a fair bit of news in the past 7 days with free agency ramping up pretty quickly. It seems to have sort of faded into not much. There's still a few free agents floating around and some moves to be made, but I think we've had most of the significant ones. And so I thought we'd squeeze in another mock draft. Why not? But first, let's start with BetOnline. BetOnline continues to be your number one source for all your sports betting action. Baseball is in full swing. Football season just around the corner. BetOnline has more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news and scores, and even live in-game betting. MLB, UFC, tennis, and NFL futures. BetOnline remains your choice for sports wagering info. And in between games, there's not much of a break between sports nowadays, but in between those games, head over to the BetOnline casino. All the top Vegas-style games, poker, live casino, blackjack. I think we've determined there's about 26 different kinds of blackjack from memory. I don't know. It's an ongoing discussion. Head to the website today. Take advantage of their industry-leading VIP program with level-up bonuses and weekly cash boosts. BetOnline, the game starts here. All right. I will share my screen. Let's go with, what look do we want to do? Let's actually share the screen. There we go. You don't need to see my face. So we will just remove me. Why is that not presenting? Let's add it to the stage. That would work. All right. So we have 8 analysts in this one. We have 4 members of the Discord community. Let me just say in the chat that we are going. Hopefully Joel. So Joel Bartolotta is first. Let's hope that he is in the draft room. Check if he's messaged me on Twitter at all. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, he hasn't. Well, let's see. We will find out very shortly. All right, let us hit go. 25-second pick timer. I think we had 20 last week, so I've given them an extra 5 seconds. And hopefully no auto picks, but we will see. Joel's still on the clock, so yeah, pretty frustrating when people say they're going to join a draft and then they aren't available for the draft. Despite all of my warnings, he auto picks Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, which, I mean, obviously that's not super wild. We'll see if he jumps back in. We know who the top 3 are going to be, assuming that the top 3 people are actually in the draft. We have Shea. We have Jokic going at number 2. We will assume Wemby all right. Anthony Edwards goes at 3. Sure. I would say D-Mac, who's picking at 4, is pretty happy to get Wemby. Anthony Edwards, certainly not a third pick for me. First round, maybe could make an argument for him. I'm not sold on him. Luka goes at 5. That's about right. So Edwards really the only just surprise here at the moment. Let's see. This is another Discord. No, he's okay. He's there. Very good. Very good. Only one so far, and that's Joel, who hasn't picked. Anthony Davis went at pick 6. Obviously, there's been a bit of movement, as I said, in the past 7 days. So we will see how that impacts draft slot. Interested to see where, well, if people remember, interested to see where Cooper Flagg goes and Jalen Johnson. If you did watch the first mock draft, you will remember that Jalen Johnson slid pretty dramatically down into the 4th or 5th round or something. Analysts did talk to me afterwards and said, yep, we just forgot about him. I can guarantee that's not going to happen when we get to September, October. But hey, it's not September or October. It is the 4th of July. So still a long time until draft season. Cade goes at pick 7, followed by Jaren Jackson and Carl Anthony Towns. Now, I mean, I said this on the last show. Once you get beyond our top 4, 5, I think Anthony Davis is probably going to go in that top 5. It's pretty open. I can't really argue with Cade, Cat, KD. Edwards, I would have potentially in this bunch, I suppose. Jaren Jackson, interesting. It's probably a little bit higher than what I'd go, but I mean, yeah, I mean, Memphis are all about him at the moment. James Harden goes at 11. I think that's fine. Maxey, Steph Curry. So, yeah, look, it's going to be a really interesting back end of the first round this season. I think there's going to be some interesting pairings. The fact that there are so many names from about 6 through to 18, it is going to come down to pairing, I think. That was a auto draw. Was it auto draw? Oh, man, someone else who's not here. Something that really grinds my gears. People that sign up for an order for a mock draft and then don't turn up. And it basically means that those people won't be coming into my next mock. So I do keep a note of that stuff. So Tatum went, fine. It's an auto draft. Trae Young, Giannis, Evan Mobley, Devin Booker. Yeah, Giannis is not going to go in the second round in most competitive drafts. So great. He fell to pick 16. Not going to happen. And then, as I said, Evan Mobley, Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell. Now, all these guys, you could make an argument for them going in the first round as well. So we haven't had any huge flyers yet, other than Edwards, I think, at pick 3. Yeah, Jaren Jackson, maybe, but again, comes down to build, and that was Chad, and he actually took Evan Mobley with his second pick, so that's actually a really good pairing. And like I said, it will come down to pairings. Who are you taking with your second pick? What are you punting? What's your build? There goes Jalen Johnson to D-Mac. It auto-drafted. He made his first pick. I don't know why he's auto-drafted there, but hopefully he set a queue. I would assume if he's taken Jalen Johnson there, because Jalen Johnson is buried in the rankings, that he has a queue set. So we had LaMelo Ball before Jalen Johnson. LaMelo, very interesting. He can go as high as 7 or 8, or low as, well, what we saw here, sort of mid to late second round. Followed by Jalen Johnson, Bam Adebayo, Domantas Sabonis, Pascal Siakam. So I think Joel is in the room now. So the only person we only have one, I think, auto drafting. It's always one, isn't there? Ooh, Joel going with Jaylen Brown in the first pick of the third round. Yeah, now look, he's going to be really good this year. The worry is that the Celtics, obviously, towards the back end of the season, may not be competing or may not want to compete. So does Jaylen Brown play 50 games? Does he play 70 games? But, I mean, that's a question you have to ask for a number of players. So, yeah, it's probably a fraction high for Jaylen Brown. But, I mean, who's to say he doesn't finish as a second-round player this season? Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, LeBron James, Scotty Barnes. So interesting that Jalen Johnson went ahead of Jalen Williams. For whatever reason, those two, for me, are always bunched or grouped together when it comes to fantasy. Their rise has sort of not mirrored each other, I wouldn't say, because Jalen Williams obviously has won a title. He's played more games, but I don't know. I consider those guys next to each other. LeBron, Scotty Barnes, Jalen Brunson, Dyson Daniels goes to Matty G. No real surprise there. Amen Thompson. A lot of upside in this range here. Jalen Williams, Jaylen Brown, Dyson Daniels. Well, does Dyson Daniels have a lot of upside? Maybe not. But, yeah, look, I mean, Matty G's obviously going for a pretty specific build here. Cade Cunningham, Devin Booker, Dyson Daniels. So he's getting all of those guard stats out of the way early. Probably going to have to punt blocks. Although in saying that, not a lot of blocks have come off the board yet, other than Wemby, Anthony Davis, a couple others. Mobley's in there. Chet. So there's still blocks around if he wanted to take a couple of centers with his next 2 picks. Following Amen Thompson, we had Paolo Banchero, Alperen Şengün, Tyrese Halliburton. That's the auto draft. So at least we've got Tatum and Halliburton off the board so people don't accidentally draft him. Derek White with the final pick of the 3rd round to Steve St. Pierre of Menace Podman, Miles Turner, OG Anunoby, Franz Wagner. And I will just be keeping an eye on Twitter just in case we get any news that drops in the next half hour. I don't think we will. It's July 4 after all. De'Aaron Fox, Cooper Flag. There goes Cooper Flag. So middle of the 4th round. I think he'll end up going higher than this. I like this range. I think if you could get him in the 4th round, so what's that for? That's pick 41. I think that's really nice there. It's a nice pocket for him, but I feel like if he has an impressive summer league and decent preseason and the hype sort of continues to build, I think he'll push into the 3rd round or even the 2nd round, as I said, I think on the last show. Jarrett Allen goes next to Matty G. So he is potentially looking for some blocks, although he did just say that that Flag, he wanted Cooper Flag there. So Cooper Flag will get maybe a block a game. So not to say he's not a shot blocker, but he's not an elite shot blocker. Saying that, Jarrett Allen, surprisingly, you go and look at the numbers, not an elite shot blocker either. Josh Giddey, currently without a team. Josh Giddey, Desmond Bain, Darius Garland. Let's have a look at some of these builds. So Raphael Johnson's in here. He took Luka, LaMelo, Scotty Barnes, Desmond Bain. He's gone super guard heavy. Got any other big builds? Okay. So Burke, Topal 928. So Discord member, I would say. Nikola Jokic, Domantas Sabonis, Chet Holmgren, Jamal Murray. So he got his bigs out of the way early. What else have we got? Let's just drag this down a little bit so I can see. There's some curious builds here. Chad's gone for a very defensive-minded build. Jaren Jackson, Evan Mobley, Amen Thompson, Cooper Flag. So probably punting points in that build. D-Mac has gone for Wemby, Jalen Johnson, LeBron James, Darius Garland. So pretty balanced at the moment, I think, for D-Mac. He doesn't mind a balanced build. We had Michael Porter. Well, no, we had Jalen Duren. Where did I get up to? We need to go back further than that, I think. 10th pick of the 4th round, Tyler Hero. Jamal Murray, Jalen Duren. Then we had Michael Porter, Trey Murphy, and Onyeka Okongwu. Too high for Okongwu? I'm not sure. I mean, I know Porzingis is there, but I do think that Okongwu probably still pushes 30 minutes, 28 minutes, whether he starts or not. That's probably his ceiling, though, I think. I don't think that... why is that not scrolling down? That Okongwu, so that he went at pick 51. I think that's probably his ceiling. Kawhi Leonard went next to D-Mac. Really nice value there. I mean, you get 65 games out of Kawhi, and that's a bargain. Vooch goes next, followed by Porzingis. So Okongwu ahead of Porzingis. That's obviously some injury hesitation there on behalf of the managers. If it's a Zubac, so there's an interesting player with Brook Lopez now in town. How does that impact Zubac? I think a little bit. I think it probably just shaves a bit off his ceiling. He'll still start. He'll still play 28, 30 minutes a night. But Brook Lopez as a backup is, from a fantasy perspective for Lopez, not great. I don't think he'll be drafted. Maybe someone takes him with their last pick just because he'll get 1.8 blocks a game. But from a reality standpoint, I think really good for the Clippers. He gives them a different look. There might be games where Zubac starts and only plays 22 minutes simply because Brook Lopez is a better matchup. So, like I said, I do think it impacts Zubac a little bit. We're not going to see him continue to rise. And does he drop off from last season? Yes, maybe. After Zubac, we had Ja Morant, Jordan Poole, Josh Hart, Naz Reid. Now, this is the auto drafting team with Naz Reid. Then we had Cam Johnson, Joel Embiid, first pick of the 6th round, Brook Lopez, who, like I said, I don't think he gets drafted. That was an auto draft. Austin Reeves, Jimmy Butler. Embiid, I talk about him in all my shows. I'm not really touching him this season, but getting him in the 6th round, I think is fair. I think that it's worth a risk. Worth a shot there, sorry. Does the risk outweigh the reward or vice versa? I don't know. The talk coming out of Philadelphia is that he's healthy, but what does a healthy Joel Embiid look like? They were showing some clips of him on. They did a free agency special on some NBA show. The one with Malika Andrews, and they were showing highlights of Embiid from last season. And man, he just has no elevation. Well, he didn't. Obviously, he's had a procedure on that knee again, but he just has no lift. He's big enough, he's skilled enough that he's still going to impact the game, but mobility, explosion, that is just gone, it looks like. So certain teams, I think, will take advantage of that. Where'd we get up to? Donovan Clingan, 5th pick of the 6th round. I'm not a big Clingan guy, but again, if you need blocks, Portland have got rid of Ayton, so I guess it's the Clingan show there. I'm not sure what his ceiling is. I just, with today's game, both he, Zach Edey, those sort of big lumbering centers that can't shoot threes, like a Brook Lopez fits that big lumbering center mold, but he can stretch the floor. Clingan can't yet. I would assume that there will be something they'll be working towards for both he and Edey and any of those centers that come into the league to at least be a threat. Not a super reliable three-point shooter, but at least have the aura, I suppose, to draw defenders out, because that's the whole point. After Clingan, we had Zach LaVine, Denny Avdia, Paul George, DeJounte Murray, Jalen Green, Kobe White, Rudy Gobert. And then coming back in the 7th round, Zion Williamson, Fred VanVleet, Jalen McDaniels. So Fred VanVleet, someone that's in the first 2 drafts here, has fallen quite significantly from last season to a spot where I think he is fantastic value. You're getting a guy that's going to get you assists and steals. He will explode occasionally on the offensive end, but he will hit threes fairly consistently. In the 7th round, that's great value there. DeMar DeRozan, Mikal Bridges, Walker Kessler. So I do wonder if, I was going to say if Matty G wanted Walker Kessler there, but probably not. Maybe you would have been interested in him. Who have we got build-wise? So some of those teams that were punting early, Matty G, let's start with him. He went with the 3 guards early. He then took Jarrett Allen, Ivica Zubac, Zach LaVine, and Tamani Kamara. So punting blocks. Zubac's also not a shot blocking center. So he would be punting blocks there, I think. Let's drag this down a bit so I can see. Is it going to let me do that? D-Mac, he going for that balanced build. Now, he took Wemby with his first pick. Beyond that, he doesn't really have a shot block. I mean, Jalen Johnson is probably slightly above average, but I wouldn't call him a shot blocker. Then he has LeBron, Garland, Kawhi, DeJounte Murray, DeMar DeRozan. So interesting to see. He will need to take a shot blocker here, I think. Yes, he has Wemby, but you can't rely purely on Wemby, especially if he gets injured. Then that category is gone. So yeah, if I took Wemby last year, but I backed him up with a couple of other shot blockers, you need a bit of assurance. Luckily, I did because he did get injured. Where did we get up to there? Got up to Walker Kessler. I talked about, so Matty G. Okay, so he took Tamani Kamara. Then we had CJ McCollum, Jakob Poeltl, Julius Randle, Christian Brown, Mark Williams. And then starting the 8th round, Kyrie Irving, Miles Bridges, Anthony Simons, Devin Vassell. So some nice value here in this range. I think guys that don't necessarily have a huge ceiling, a top 30 ceiling, but I think getting them at, what are we, in the 80s? Yeah, in the 80s, guys that could certainly push inside the top 50. Julius Randle, Mark Williams, Devin Vassell. There goes Brandon Miller with the 7th pick of the 8th round. Isaiah Hartenstein, DeAndre Ayton. Ayton in Los Angeles, what is that going to look like? D-Mac would be hoping it looks good. Taking him there. Look, I think at 93, I'm certainly not an Ayton fan. I have no idea how this is going to go in LA. But at 93, that's a no-brainer, really. He is a guy that has a fantasy-friendly game. Doesn't get you a lot of defensive stuff. But as I said, D-Mac, although he was looking for a shot blocker. Yeah, I mean, look, he might get a blocker game. But I still think if he wants to compete in blocks, he probably needs to get another guy. Yeah, I mean, if you look at Chad's team, for example, he has Jaren Jackson, Evan Mobley, Amen Thompson, Cooper Flagg, decent shot blockers, but he then has Klingon, he has Sarr. Steve St. Pierre has Mark Williams, Joel Embiid, Miles Turner. Yeah. There's Claxton, Gobert, Jalen Duren, Zion to a lesser extent. Yeah, so I think D-Mac probably needs to get a shot blocker there. So after Ayton, we had Quentin Grimes, Lauri Markkanen, Nick Claxton. 9th round, Cam Thomas, Keegan Murray. Gee, Lauri Markkanen has fallen out of favour, hasn't he? 11th pick of the 8th round. If we remember back 2 years, he was a top 30 player, even going in the 2nd round in some spots. But that's the Utah effect. Utah are terrible, so yeah, people are pretty cautious when it comes to drafting anyone from Utah. Keegan Murray, PJ Washington, Emmanuel Quickly, Peyton Pritchard. Quickly, another player, I think some really nice value there for D-Mac. Think back 12 months, he was going as a top 50 player and he managed to get him here at pick 100. So amazing. So we are sort of pushing into flyer territory, although there's a lot of, somewhat proven players coming off the board now. Brandon Ingram at pick 102. Great. You have no idea how many games he's going to play. If his foot's grown back, then I guess he might have a good season. Then we had Andrew Wiggins, Kaman Malawach. Very interested to see how he and Mark Williams go in Phoenix there, what the rotation looks like. I think Williams will be the starter, but injuries, all the stuff that comes with Mark Williams would lead me to believe that they're probably going to try and limit him to 26 minutes a night, maybe 28, and play Malawach 20, 22. Bradley Beal, who hasn't been drafted yet, supposedly, I don't think he's been drafted, has he? Oh, maybe he has. Let's have a look. Was Beal... Oh, no, he hasn't. So Beal, rumours of a buyout coming for Beal. So I'd be certainly fine taking him here because I would think if he's going to be bought out and then sign with whoever, he would go to a team where he's going to play enough to have a role and fantasy value. After Malawach, we had Buzelis. I've talked about Buzelis this season. I really like him. in this range. Kalel Ware, Damian Lillard, that's the auto pick. Ace Bailey, Benedict Mathurin, Russell Westbrook is the auto pick. Bobby Portis. So we're into the 10th round. So we are going 12 rounds deep here. And we might be able to do a quick recap. But I might even get like DMAC on the show or Matty G, and we'll go through it in a little bit more detail, hopefully before I head off next week. It will all depend on timing, but they are Aussies. It is a little bit easier for me to line up times with them. After Bobby Portis, we had D'Angelo Russell. Fine. D'Angelo Russell at 112. He could give you top 80, top 70 value for 3 months. Then he probably gives you nothing, but with your 10th round pick, that's fine. Nikola Topic, don't know what he's going to do this season. He's an interesting prospect. Shaden Sharp goes next, followed by Scoot Henderson, a pair of Blazers. Again, what do they do? I mean, Scoot, we're just waiting for that breakout. We haven't seen it yet. We saw tiny flashes last season. No Anthony Simons there anymore. What I think probably the question mark when it comes to Scoot and Shaden Sharp potentially is Drew Holiday. What is he doing? Santi Aldama, Jalen Suggs. I like Suggs there. Coming off injury, but even with Bain there, I think Suggs will do enough to be a pretty solid top 100 player. There goes Stephon Castle. Who have we got left here on the board? Let's change this up and look at. Let's have a look at point scorers. Who have we got left floating around? We've got RJ Barrett. We've got Colin Sexton, Jaden Ivey, Bradley Beal's still there. Really surprised he hasn't been drafted. Keontae George, Kuminga still there. Jeremy Grant, there's an interesting name. I'd be fine taking him here. I'm not a Jeremy Grant guy, but for whatever reason, if he plays 30 minutes a night, he'd be okay. Let's have a look at blocks. Have we got any shot blockers left on the board? We have the Dallas centers, surprising. Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively, both available. Who starts in Indiana? Isaiah Jackson is sitting there. If he gets 28 minutes a night, he will certainly be someone we want to be drafting. Eve Meesey sitting there as well. There is someone hasn't come off the board yet, and I'm very curious to see if he does. And he is someone I will absolutely be grabbing with my last round pick, based on what we know right now. And I will talk about him at the end of the draft. What does it matter? This is not a live show, so it doesn't matter. I'm talking about Luka Garza. I would be looking at Luka Garza here if you need a center. If he starts for Boston and his competition at the moment is Nemesh Cater, that's sort of it. They brought Garza in on, it's not a big contract, but we've seen very, very small snippets of what he can do, and I think he has a pretty fantasy-friendly game. Not a great shot blocker, points, rebounds. He can stretch the floor. Free throws need to improve a little bit, but if you could get him in the 10th, 11th, 12th round, I'd be considering it if you need a center. Let's rattle off some of these picks because I went off track there. So Stephon Castle went with the 10th pick of the 10th round, followed by Norm Powell and Andrew Nembhard. Starting the 11th round, Zach Edey, Bilal Coulibaly, Draymond Green, Bradley Beal, Karis LeVert, John Collins, Wendell Carter, Asar Thompson, nice, Jonathan Kuminga, Malik Monk, Chris Paul, Drew Holiday. We then had, 12th round, we're in the last round now, Aaron Neesmith, Keon Ellis. 10 picks to go. Still got Gafford and Lively. I don't know how Lively hasn't been picked. I feel like he's going to start and play 28 minutes this season. We'll see. I could be wrong. Steals. Herb Jones, Tari Eason still floating around. Who else is sitting there that is worth drafting? And Dante DiVincenzo, does he take that starting role from Mike Conley this year? I think there's a chance he does. Pajemski still there. What about rebounders? Clint Capella, he won't be drafted. Nurkic won't be drafted. Valanciunas won't be drafted. A lot of these will be streamers at points throughout the season. There goes Lively. Points, I did points. Did we do assists? Who have we got for assists? Isaiah Collier. I mean, what does his role look like? He was really good down the stretch last year if you're punting points. Davion Mitchell. Sounds like he's going to be the starting point guard in Miami. Is he worth drafting? I'm not sure. Draft is wrapping up here. All right, let's have a look. Pods does go. All right, we'll finish up. So we had, thanks, guys. So we had Neesmith. I talked about him. First pick of the 12th round. Keon Ellis, Alex Caruso, RJ Barrett, Fleming, Robinson, Duncan Robinson, Kevin Porter, Kalkbrenner, Lively, Beasley. That was an auto pick, so I think John would have his pick over again. He wouldn't take Beasley. Or maybe he would. I don't know. Pajemski and Keontae George. So that is it. Let me close this up and look at the draft results. All right, we'll just very quickly go through this and then I will wrap it up. So I won't really give too much of a breakdown. I'll just recap the picks. And then, as I said, I will try and get one or two guests on the show in the next 3 days to talk about this. So we had Shea went at number 1. Now, that was an auto pick, so I think it'll be Jokic or Wemby. But Shea went at 1, Jokic, Anthony Edwards at 3. Interesting. I'll post the results and people can ask their questions. Wemby went at 4, Luka, Anthony Davis, Cade Cunningham, Jaren Jackson, Karl Anthony Towns, Kevin Durant, James Harden, Tyrese Maxey. Fairly solid first round. Talked about the fact that after about pick 5, it is just going to be a crapshoot. Then we had Steph Curry, Jason Tatum. That was an auto pick. Trae Young, Giannis, Mobley, Booker, Mitchell, Ball, Jalen Johnson, Adebayo, Sabonis, Siakam. The third round, Jaylen Brown, Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, LeBron, Scotty Barnes, Jalen Brunson, Dyson Daniels, Amen Thompson, Banchero, Şengün, Halliburton, auto pick, and Derek White. Fourth round was Turner, Anunoby, Wagner. Anunoby's actually okay there. He was an auto pick, probably a bit high, but not egregiously high. Wagner, Fox, Flagg, Allen, Giddey, Bain, Garland, Hero, Murray, Duran. Squeeze in a quick coffee there. Fifth round, Porter, Michael Porter Jr., Trey Murphy, Okongwu, Kawhi, Vooch, Porzingis, Zubats, Morant, Poole, Hart, Naz Reid, auto pick, Cam Johnson. Sixth round, Embiid, Lopez, who was also an auto pick, Reeves, Butler, Klingon, Levine, Avdia, George, DeJounte Murray, Jalen Green, Kobe White, Gobert. Then we had the seventh round, Zion, Ben Fleet, McDaniels, DeRozan, Mikal Bridges, New York Bridges, Kessler, Kamara, McCollum, Pirtle, Randall, Brown. Brown was also an auto pick, but that's not too. It's not terrible. I think Brown there, followed by Mark Williams. The eighth round, Kyrie, Miles Bridges, Simons, Vassell, Sarr, Harris, Tobias Harris. Is there another Harris? I don't know. Tobias Harris, Brandon Miller, Hartenstein, Ayton, Grimes, Markin, and Claxton. Ninth round, we had Cam Thomas, Keegan Murray, PJ Washington, Quickly, Pritchard, Ingram, Wiggins, Mulwatch, Buzelis, Ware, Lillard, and Ace Bailey. The 10th round, into the Flyers now, Mathurin, Westbrook, who was an auto pick, Portis, D'Angelo Russell, Topic, Sharp, Henderson, Aldama, Suggs, Castle, Powell, and Nemhard. Zach Edey, Koulibaly, Draymond Green, Beal, love that Beal pick there, Levert, John Collins, Wendell Carter, Asar Thompson, Kuminga, Monk, Paul, and Holiday. And the 12th round, Neesmith, Keon Ellis. Now, Keon Ellis was an auto pick. He's fine to take a flyer on, even if it was a real pick. Caruso, Barrett, Fleming, Robinson, Porter, Kalkbrenner, Lively, Beasley, Pajemski, and Keontae George. As I stop sharing. And on this, there we go. It's just because I had the wrong setting. There we go. Now we can see me, and I can close this screen over here. All right. So that will do. Another draft in the books, nice and quick. Hopefully I didn't keep people from their celebrations for too long. This will probably be released on, it'll be up to Dan. The podcast will come out fairly quickly. So it will be released July 4th. The video maybe the following day or the day after, because Dan does all the back end stuff for that. So, let us know what you think. Find us all on Twitter. Those that were in the draft, I'll tag them on Twitter as well, so you can follow them if you are not. And that will do. Go and like us. Go and subscribe. Do all of that stuff. Find us over on YouTube. Follow the podcast feed. Myself, Noah, Dan, Eric has been popping up on shows as well. Our content will be ramping up from early August. Now, my show will be on a bit of a pause while I'm over at Summer League. So I might do 1 or 2 quick shows before I leave, but then it's going to be basically all of July off. But then once we hit August, it probably won't be daily shows, but it'll be fairly regular. So yeah, a lot of content coming up. Thank you everyone for watching. This has been Stuff It, a fantasy basketball podcast. We are done.